Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel.
I'm Adan.
And this is our Sith-sational review of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ooh, 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 ooh.
You're the only one that can help us, Obi-Wan.
Spoilers. Obi-Wan is a 6-episode series.
Rumor is that some of the cast wanted to do a season 2.
It's open to it. We have Ewan McGregor reprising his role as Obi-Wan, as well as Jimmy Smits and
Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen. Christensen.
Can I say Hayden Christensen?
I don't want to put it all on him because that writing.
I'm not saying that. I just think he's a bad actor, and even though he was extremely in it, very little.
Yeah, it's bit parts really, and but also the voice
by James Earl Jones.
Gotta give
by
props
Sir
for
James Earl Jones. Yes, he reprised the role, returning with his iconic voice for Darth Vader. Off the bat, this is way better than the Book of Boba Fett, but it is not as near as The Mandalorian.
You know what? I'm kind of on page. I agree with that last statement. It's like way better than Mandalorian.
No, not way better than Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is way better than.
Yes, that's what I meant
to say.
It's way better.
Yes, Book of Boba Fett. We're gonna do the ranking right now. Let's just get out of the way.
Okay. Okay.
Here we go. Ranking of so far of Disney's series,
Star Wars universe,
The Mandalorian, Visions, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Book of Boba Fett.
You know what? I agree with the first two 100%. Right?
Should we hold up? Should we quote? Okay, I'm going to repeat that because should we include Clone Wars and Rebels?
Rebels wasn't.
Yes, it was. It was Disney XD.
Oh, that's going to throw off our bar real quick. I love Rebels.
Me too. All right, so let's do it right here. All right, I'll do it because I know the Clone Wars was on Cartoon Network,
which eventually was redone with Disney. We're gonna exclude. I'm gonna call Audible. We'll exclude Clone Wars because that was across two different franchises that own Star Wars.
Right, but they brought in. What do you mean?
Because originally Clone Wars was Disney, was George Lucas and LucasArts, and then it was on Cartoon Network. For most of it was on Cartoon Network actually, and then Disney decided to do the final season and pick it back up. So in reality, like you're talking about two different networks running on this. We're talking about purely Disney.
Let's include it. So let's include it just because. Okay. Let's include it because Obi-Wan has a significant role in that series, in that show.
Okay.
There's other ones too. Ahsoka, Anakin, of course, and other characters there.
Stormtroopers, all of them.
Mm-hmm. Rex and all. Yeah. So for me, okay, let's go back.
I mean, you could also include the Star Wars one about after the Force Awakens, where they had Poe.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no one watched that one.
I try to. I can't remember what it's called.
Star Wars Renegades or something like that.
No, not Renegades. It was
started with an R, I want to say, but we'll exclude that one because Resistance. Yeah. I watched one episode and I was like, no, I'm good. If you watched Resistance, let us know if it's actually good. Like if we have to get past like 5 episodes.
No, I watched the whole series.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, then you can include it if you want.
All right, so here we go. For so far, all the Star Wars series, including Disney and non-Disney.
That we can remember.
Because Resistance is Disney as well.
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Okay.
Rebels. Visions. Obi-Wan. Resistance. And Book of Boba Fett.
You skipped Clone.
Oh, damn it. Let me do it again. Okay.
So many.
I know. It's The Mandalorian, Rebels, Clone Wars, Visions. They can either switch. Clone Wars and Visions can switch. It can be either or on that one. Then Obi-Wan, Resistance, and then Book of Boba Fett. And you also have something Destiny, little shorts, but we're not going to. That's not
and Bad Batch.
Oh, fuck me. Okay.
You forgot Omega.
So here we go. Mando, still number one. Rebels, still a tie between Clone Wars and Visions. Obi-Wan, Bad Batch, Resistance, and Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Even though we haven't done review of the Bad Batch, we did it on your show, Nerd Toss. We did a watch party.
Several watch parties, yeah.
Right.
And reviewed live.
Yeah. So we'll do a review of it prior to season 2, if it comes out.
Well, they say it's supposed to come out.
Right. What's your ranking of so far?
For number one spot, it's going to be tough. I actually would choose Rebels over Mando.
Okay.
But Mando's going to be second. Followed by, for me, I do like Visions right after that. I will put Clone Wars over. Boba Fett and Kenobi are going to be in the same spot for me. I can interchange it.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Well, okay. All right. No. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. To me, I'll explain why later, because there's a logic for me in there. Bad Batch is below those two. Below that is Resistance. So pretty much mostly cartoons are above these two live action ones.
Fair enough. All right. Cool.
I mean, if I had to pick one over the other, I would actually pick Kenobi by a small margin over Boba Fett. I like the side characters of Boba Fett for the most part. Okay. But there's, again, I'll talk about that later.
Let's just go into it. I did enjoy Obi-Wan. I can see myself, not so much, but I can watch this more than I could watch Book of Boba Fett. I can't watch Book of Boba Fett anymore. It was one and done, even though I did it twice for their reviews. It was interesting. It was a good attempt. They did fail on many aspects. The story made some sense, but they could have made a tighter, better story. There were so many things going on. You had the story with Obi-Wan. You had the story with baby Leia. I want to call her baby Leia or 10-year-old Leia. You have Reva. And then you have also Darth having his thing. You have two people who have a hard-on against Obi-Wan. You have Reva, who blames Obi-Wan for helping create Vader.
Also sees him as a tool to get closer to Vader, too.
Right, but that is not needed. Like, she didn't really need Obi-Wan to get closer. She could have done other things, but she used that. The thing was, she was always mad at Obi-Wan, regardless.
True. And
she's also mad at Vader because of what he did. And I have some questions also on that. Then you have Vader, who's always after Obi-Wan because that's his main focus, because of what happened in their last battle together. And you have Leia. Well, it's more for us in the sense we see how she becomes what we love in A New Hope, the sass and the independent.
Why does a princess have a holster?
Right, but also there was like almost like what this movie did. Not this movie, but what the series did. It honored the original, the prequels, the sequels, but also dishonored it.
Okay,
as well. It is like
it honored the source material.
Not 100%. They got a little bit right, and then they crushed the most valuable things that what we fell in love with, what started off A New Hope, or the Star Wars galaxy universe that lasted for over now 45 years. It was written by, I'm not sure it was written by two people I know. I'm not sure they've written all episodes, but it was all episodes were directed by one person, Deborah Chow, where she did a couple of Mandalorian episodes.
Yeah.
And I saw some reviews that her episodes of Mandalorian were the most significant ones. I'm like, no, they weren't.
I mean, cinematically, watching Kenobi, I was okay with it.
Oh, it was beautifully done.
Yeah.
It was beautifully shot, but I'm a stickler to continuity.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to show me something that's present day and then show me something that's related to it, but from the past, it has to make sense. You can't, say, "Oh, I've had a Lamborghini all my life," but you see the person driving a Pinto.
Yeah,
I know it's a bad analogy, but you know what I'm saying. And that's where it disappointed me in here, where They have the source materials. The OTs laid down the groundwork of what could have been and what should have been.
Mm-hmm.
The prequels did a bad job. I know people love the prequels. They're like, oh, I was like, whatever. You don't get it. The people who love the prequels but hate the sequels, I find it hysterical, since the sequels is almost a copy of the prequels in the same but also a little different way.
Very true.
I'm like, are you kidding me? And the prequels is a copy of the original. And again, in a way, especially the episode 4, A New Hope, is copied in episode 1. And then episode 7 is a copy of episode 1 and episode 4. It's just recycling the same thing, not really bringing anything new to the table or to the lore. But let's go into what we liked. What did you like?
All the things I really liked were the last 2 episodes.
Really?
Well, I'll explain why on that. There are parts before that I enjoyed, but there's highlights for the last 2 episodes. So for me, I was really into the entertainment of the last 2 episodes, where I was comparing to Boba Fett, the first 3 episodes were where I was getting into it. They hit differently for me. But
how?
So I was interested in the lore of Boba Fett, where he was with the Tusken Raiders.
I don't care about the Boba Fett right now. Let's talk about Obi-Wan.
Oh, fine. Obi-Wan, episode 5, and they were they were pinned down trying to escape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're under siege. Everything's coming at them. I was liking the fact that number one, you're having a give and take between him and Reva at one point. 2, you have let's just be honest. The Vader scene was dope. The Vader scene where he comes in, he's like, "I'll go get him," and the ship tries to escape, and he just force grabs the ship, sits it down, rips out the wall, and then sees no one's there, and then Reva tries to attack him. It felt like that moment when I was watching Rogue One, and Vader was just wrecking all the soldiers. And then Vader's just going to town on Third Sister. Very minimalistic fighting, using force, being very empowering, but using minimalistic moves. And I'm like, that's how I envision Vader actually fighting at his maximum capability. Now, episode 6, when they were flashing in, between him and Obi-Wan and their duel, and
that's episode 5.
That is episode 5. I did like the give and take, because it is basically them reenacting that duel, and I like that concept. Episode 6, though, when they were actually fighting, for me, and I was talking about this with someone, episode 5 had Vader fighting how I envisioned him to fight. Episode 6 was Vader facing off against Kenobi, but through that battle, he's not fighting how Vader normally fights. He's fighting closer to how Anakin would fight. Yes, there were some cheesy moments, but Anakin was that guy who would try to do flares and try to do moves and whatnot. The whole point of that last scene with him and the Emperor is Anakin's living his second youth. Vader going after Obi-Wan is midlife crisis, the one thing he couldn't do or beat when he was younger, and he's trying to reclaim that. That's the impression I got. And then eventually, the Emperor's like, "You need to squash this," and he's like, "No, you're my only master," and he gives up on going after Obi-Wan.
Okay, so, well, I disagree with you.
And that's your choice. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I just...
What did you like?
That's... I liked how Leia was represented here. I enjoyed her. Do I think she was needed in this story? No, because it just broke the continuity of what was set in New Hope. But I like the actress. I like how she did. She was very good, very strong, very committed to the role of someone who will become in power in the Senate.
Of the child actor characters in Star Wars, she is very enjoyable character. I like Omega and some other ones that we've had.
Well, Omega's not really a kid. The voice is not as an adult.
We're talking about the portrayal, though.
Oh, yeah, but the thing is, she's a kid. She's 10 years old. If she's 10 years old, she could be even younger.
She did look younger.
Yeah, I did enjoy aspect of Reva. I didn't like her so much, but I liked the premise that it was a youngling that turn to the dark side due to what happened of Order 66 and try to get revenge on Darth, on Obi-Wan. It would have been nicer if, say, the story was about like Reva and Obi-Wan, that she's going after him.
Oh, don't get me wrong. There's so many other things. Like you said, Leia was nice, but let's be honest, her character was not needed. You could have took any other child and then give a reason for him to chase after that child and come back.
No. It would have been better is that him do his damn job that he promised to do is protect Luke, and then Luke gets in trouble, or to take off the scent of Luke is then leave Tatooine, chase Obi-Wan, not to have Luke in danger. That thing, the thing with this damn Star Wars universe is that they always go to the Skywalkers. There's always because it wasn't just Obi-Wan. It was a Obi-Wan story. It was a Leia story. It was a Anakin Skywalker Vader story. It was a little bit of Luke's story, minimal, but it was there.
Yeah.
And then Reva's story. It was so much story going on that it was confusing, or not confusing. It was just all over the place.
Yeah.
The beauty of A New Hope is concise and it's direct to the point. You know what's going on. You see that happening. A ship gets attacked. Droids are taken out. Then you follow the droids, and then it leads to Luke. Then Luke goes to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan, they find a message, and then they got to rescue. Then it becomes a rescue mission.
True.
All right. And then the Empire is trying to find the details where their plans are, and that's their mission. So you have really two things going on. Other things, of course, open up, but they're still on target with those two. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of Easter eggs of the prequels, of the OTs, and the sequels.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to go into too much detail. There's other places for that do that. But I think this is the only one that didn't say, I have a bad feeling about this. I didn't catch that anywhere. Did you?
No, I missed that.
I don't think anyone said I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, if it was said, I miss it.
Or even I have a good feeling about this, which they did in Solo.
Got the whole there.
That's not said in every Star Wars incarnation. That's only Obi-Wan's thing. The 4-minute recap at the beginning, not needed. They did a recap of all the prequels, and I was like, for what? Did that anyway throughout the whole series. They did recaps.
Pretty much. I mean, 90% of the things of Obi-Wan's memories were just the recaps.
Right.
Constantly being redone.
And again, why is that being forced down our throat, which is actually killing airtime or wasting airtime? As it's like, just get on with it. Just to help me, I'm just going to go by episode and cut me anytime. Luke is there to protect Luke, right?
Luke protect you, Luke? No.
Where Obi-Wan is there. Obi-Wan's there to protect Luke, correct?
That's his job.
That is his job. So how come he does not train? How come he does not keep himself in good shape?
So, okay.
How come he doesn't practice the Force? I understand that he's trying to maybe not cause attention to him.
Yes.
But the thing is, regardless, if Luke goes into trouble, if anyone from the Empire or any Sith or Inquisitors, because they were around, find him, he is not going to be able to defend. His lightsaber is freaking
buried
somewhere deep in the desert.
I mean, the only logic that I can think of that I come forward, like Yoda was on the run as well, and the planet that
right, but Yoda is not watching over someone. He's not there to protect.
True.
He's just there to avoid anything. He actually goes to Dagobah that's strong with the Sith.
Yes, and but there's a pro to that too. So if you, it's like a camouflage. So if you go to a place that's strong with the Sith, if you use the Force.
Now I understand that. But see, that's not the point. We're not talking about Yoda. We're talking about Obi-Wan.
Yes, we're talking about. That's what I'm getting at.
I don't want to talk about Yoda.
No, but I'm giving you an example. So,
oh my God!
You just said it. They have Inquisitors and they have items like investigations. There's been times in Star Wars where they'll be like, I sense something in the Force, and it is like across galaxies or across space, just from the usage of the Force. I've moved my drink from one side of the table to the other because of the Force, and they tracked my ass down. So,
but the thing is, like, why? Okay,
am I wrong though?
Yeah, but he wasn't about Flash. Only time he was about Flash is when he fought. But in the sense of, if your job is to protect and look over someone, and you gave an oath, and you're there to honor oath, you would train in secret. You would keep your skills up to par, especially in a desert, open air where people can't find it unless there's a droid coming, doing surveillance, what have you. The thing is, he didn't keep him up in shape. With Luke, he could be in danger at any time, so he has to be ready at any time. It's like a firefighter.
I mean, the only other thing that you can make the argument is that he's dealing with the post-traumatic stress of leaving Anakin to die and become Vader, and the guilt of that.
Again, that's BS. Of course, what they laid in the end of Revenge of the Sith. He made us swear. He wasn't delusional, or not delusional. He wasn't depressed. He wasn't like, oh man, I don't know what to do now. I'm going to feel, all right, I'll take care of Luke. No, he says, I'll take care of the boy. I'll bring him to his family and I'll look over him. He did like that. And he left with good intentions, knowing that Yoda, we're going to Yoda here, but that he would teach Obi-Wan how to communicate with Qui-Gon Jinn. There is none of that here. He's just praying, hopefully talking. He says, wait a minute, so Yoda he said he will give you training how to communicate with your old master, yet you're not practicing it as well? Because it's a form of meditation to connect.
Yeah.
I know that people are saying that, well, it's because since he was having that guilt of that battle, was holding him back to see Qui-Gon. But correct me if I'm wrong, in Clone Wars, didn't Qui-Gon Jinn communicate to Obi-Wan at one time or another, not in real form, but I guess in spirit? I know he did that to Yoda, and I believe he did it to someone else because he appeared a couple times.
I honestly do not remember that.
So for those listening or watching us, please let us know in the comments. Besides Yoda, who else did Qui-Gon communicate to? Was it Anakin?
In Clone Wars.
Because I think he did. Again, this is where we see Leia in episode 1 of the series. The chase that they were going after her I found it comical because it was like, seriously, you can't catch a 10-year-old. That one alien fell. She went you saw her. She actually jumped off the fall. And she went oh! To me, that was kind of comical. Also, with episode 1, you have Reva. In my opinion, she reminded me of Thrawn. Very strategic. She knew what to say, how to go. Sometimes she'll lose her cool. She'll lose her cool.
She lost her cool a lot.
Right. She was just being impatient. But as the way she was approaching things, it did feel like a little bit of Thrawn in her. But here we go again. Maybe to contradict what I said earlier about Obi-Wan, he's trying to hide and stay in hiding. But no, the thing is, he's trying not to draw attention to himself. Mm-hmm. Yet, when he's about to board on the ship to find Leia, he flashes the lightsaber. That's all pristine and glistening, that the sun hits it, or the two suns hit it right.
He went back to the traditional Jedi outfit.
Not necessarily so, just the cloak.
Cloak and lightsaber. That's all you need.
Well, saying that he didn't have the robe.
I mean, even the one guy impersonating a Jedi did the same look.
Oh, Haja here.
Yeah, Haja.
He's a con artist, but a good one.
He wants to help people, but he also wants to make a little bit of money on the side.
Exactly. In episode 2, again, there's a lot of callbacks to all the Star Wars movies prior to it. When Obi-Wan saves Leia in the jail cell, the holding cell, I couldn't help but think of Luke. I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. It was kind of like the same kind of mannerism, and the camera angle too.
Yeah.
I had feelings of John Wick, Matrix, Underworld, and sad to say, Morbius in episode 2.
Okay. Why John Wick and why Underworld?
When Reva had Flea, I can't remember his name, Flea sent out a alert to look for Obi-Wan.
Oh, the manhunt. Okay, gotcha.
The manhunt. That's what happened in John Wick 3.
They all had little pagers on their watches going off.
Oh, no, John Wick 2. Yes, all the assassins are looking for him. Matrix, all that running on the rooftop, opening scene.
Okay.
The Matrix, Underworld, and Morbius, in the sense where in the beginning of Underworld you see the hero She's on top of a church or something, looking over the landscape.
Gotcha.
Underworld, right? And also Morbius did the same thing too. But at the end,
you could argue Assassin's Creed too, because she kind of did the Assassin's Creed pose.
Oh yeah, all that stuff. All that can be tied to it. Yes, for like people who hate the sequel trilogy, they honored it here. The memory pool when she was on the thing, when she was trying to find out where they were, and she was mind-pulling Haja.
Yeah.
Again, problem here. If she's a youngling, and again in Revenge of the Sith, no one knew that Anakin was Vader at the time. He was still Annie. He was still Lord Skywalker or Master Skywalker.
Yeah.
So how does she know that he is Vader? Especially when he attempted to kill her when she was a youngling, because he did.
The argument could be made, like, how many other Jedi turned? And so he was the one that led the turning,
Right.
And now he's the second hand to the Emperor. I mean, it's not that far of a leap, technically, to assume that he was Anakin.
But no one knew it. He didn't turn into the costume. He didn't say he was Vader. The only one that gave him the name was Palpatine, but it was not shared like Order 66 was shared.
True.
And that's another thing, too, where I have a problem with Revenge of the Sith. And here, Order 66 was to take out all Jedis. So how is Anakin leading the stormtroopers to kill Jedi while he's still alive? Unless Order 66 it was done where Palpatine said, kill everyone except for Anakin. He foresaw the future so far that he knew Anakin was going to be the one that Anakin was going to turn. And when I can get him to turn, I'll do Order 66. And
or they make some kind of ruling that he's not considered a Jedi. Honestly, now we're not talking about Obi-Wan. We're talking about the prequels and Clone Wars.
No, I understand. But in episode 2, or in episode 2, episode 5, we get that.
Yeah.
We see that in their relation, but again, how does she know that he is the same?
I mean, there's no real explanation to that. And the only thing you could say is educate a guess.
I just think it's lazy writing like the prequels. There's just easy answers where it's like, you got to be kidding me.
Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. A lot of things in Star Wars is easy writing. There's nothing like, you're not writing Shakespeare.
But you could present it as it is.
Oh, yeah, no. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of ways that it can be presented, like it's beautiful gold dust. But that's where we miss the margin a lot of times.
But the thing is, like, this series disrespects the OT in so many ways, as well as I guess honoring others. Like what they did was they reconned a lot of stuff from the prequels to the OTs. Then they created more plot holes as well.
Yeah. My
biggest gripe is that they totally ignored the fact that Leia did not know Obi-Wan until when she get that message. She gave that message to rescue, come help on the hologram. She did not know who he was.
So what was do you remember the message on in New Hope that she sends for the help for the Alliance?
Carrie Fisher never forgot it. Here we go. General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. I regret I am unable to present my father's request to you in person, but my ship has fallen under attack, and fear my mission to return with you to Alderaan has failed. I have fed information vital to the survival of all free planets in the memory of the systems of this R2 unit. My father will know how to retrieve it. You must see this droid safely delivered to him on Alderaan. This is our most desperate hour. You must help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
There's a Nerdist article that says, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope." Indeed, Leia makes no mention in her message of ever having met Kenobi herself. Her message is that of the daughter of old war buddy asking for aid with no immediate indication of familiarity.
So in that quote, in that saying, she never knows who he is. And I was going to give it a buy in this because all he was going by is Ben. But then Reva tells her Obi-Wan is dead. And I was like,
yep.
Damn it. At the end of the series, Leia gives him a hug and says goodbye, Obi-Wan. So she knows who he is. Then it just contradicts that message. Mm-hmm. And that's what's infuriating here, where they just said, you know what? Just throw it away. Why not have him save Luke? because in A New Hope, because he sees the message, and then he goes, well, maybe she means old Ben Kenobi, because he knew there was a Kenobi.
They also say they fixed the continuity idea that when he left, the whole Anakin and Vader thing,
that got fixed, right, in the sense of
the sixth episode.
Yeah, that's at the end of the 6th episode, which I said, okay, that's what I mean when they did retcon the old tease, but then they created new problems.
Yeah.
With this series, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I said, okay, I see what they're saying, because it was Vader and Anakin in the mashup that made that quote that Vader killed Anakin. I was like, okay, I can see that. That's all right. We know that 10 years old is too old to learn into the Force, right? But in episode 3, Obi-Wan tells Leia that he had memories of a brother younger than him before he went to the academy, the temple. I was like, well, then how old was he? Like, because if Anakin was found too old at 10 years old to join, then how old was Obi-Wan when he joined? Because if he remembers his brother, he's not a kid. He's a kid, but he's not a baby.
They were off by a year.
Maybe so. Then the fight with him and Vader in episode 3, totally not needed.
Oh, yeah. Episode 3 fight, I was not entertained whatsoever by that fight. No sense,
especially when you saw Vader snapping the necks.
Like they're nothing.
Right. And he had Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan's like dealing with PTSD, and he couldn't fight because he wasn't training to protect Luke.
Mm-hmm.
He was weak and scared. And the thing is, he handled Anakin the last time they met each other. I just find the whole premise of Obi-Wan being nothing but a fragile, weak, not prepared guy who was trained, but he was trained all his life, pretty much.
True. And but
to fight and to protect.
Just to emphasize on that, like there's a moment in Rebels where you meet Obi-Wan. It's Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan again. Now, granted, this is years later. They go to a duel, and it's a split-second duel, but it's something like what you thought was a master has truly become the master. He, in a minimalistic way, he wins the duel, one strike.
Just like a proper samurai would. Yes.
Correct.
No wasted energy.
Exactly. So, you don't get to that status by doing nothing. And that was also why I was mentioning like how I loved the episode, the fight between Vader and Reva, because that was the vibe I got about Vader.
Now,
you're right.
See, for me, okay, we'll go to that fight because I found that fight to be stupid.
Really?
Yeah, but we'll go to that. What you were saying?
No, but overall, I'm just agreeing in the sense like, yeah, he. I mean, the argument can be like, oh, he's gonna be training now, but like, yeah, you can. It's like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. But again, he's there for the sole purpose of you're a full-time bodyguard, so you're gonna be there. Just what you're doing your job, making a wage, making a living, but you're not doing your job bodyguarding. So what are you really there for?
Right. If you're just going to watch him, it's like, that's not protecting. You're just watching him. You're just a stalker.
Exactly. You're just being a creep. Let's be honest.
Now, when Obi-Wan gets rescued, that was stupid in a way that...
are you talking about episode 3 or...
Yeah, episode 3 when they had the fight.
Oh, and she...
and then the...
3-star general.
The thing is, we've seen Vader prior to that.
I mean, honestly, Vader could have snatched him.
No, of course. He could have taken out like Moses with the sea. He could have done that with the flames. Well, later on, we see him grab and stop a ship from taking off.
And easier than any other.
He could have easily pulled the robot back.
And you know what? What's funny is like there's been other times where other Jedi or Sith Lords or whatever or Knight of Ren where they would do something like that with a spaceship, struggle. Vader's just like, oh, sit your ass down.
He did that with of course with ease because his hate is strong. But I mean, really, you have anger so much towards Obi-Wan, you would not let him escape. You would not just say, "Oh, fire." You would not be like Frankenstein, fire. Or the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
No.
The ultimate weakness to the Sith is fire.
I guess so. I mean, he could have. He's metal. He's freaking, half man, half robot. That he could just walk through the fire and get Obi-Wan if he wanted to, but also force grabbed him. But he didn't. Seriously, that fight would not have been. It would have been nice if it was a cat and mouse chase where Vader's almost there, and then catching him. That is.
I mean, it was kind of like that when he was burning Obi-Wan. Like, so if he lost Obi-Wan because he's playing with Obi-Wan to like torture him, and like, and they use that
torture him. He wanted to be in pain, right? He wanted to.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
he felt. But still,
you play with your food. You give you opportunity for your food to escape.
Right, but the thing is, Vader was still there. He was not damaged. He wasn't taken aback from the blast. He was still standing there, strong.
Oh, I agree.
Continue. He could have just grabbed them, and then
it could have been definitely left out. I mean, it could have been one of the other Inquisitors. Let that fight go there.
Yes, exactly. You had 2 other Inquisitors not being used. Oh, also that on episode 2, where Reva kills.
I hinted that to you.
I know you did, and I was like, "Are you effing kidding me?" That she took him out like that. He is the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels. He's a major force in the first season of Rebels.
Yes.
And she takes him out like nothing. Granted, he does come back in episode 5.
But come on, man. Really? He took a lightsaber to the chest.
Through the chest.
Yes. And he collapsed. That's a collapse not of a man who's like, ooh, I just got injured. No, that's a collapse of, I am dying, if not dead.
But the thing is, that was the same like kill strike to Qui-Gon. Did Qui-Gon come back? No. He died.
I mean, you can argue like Revo's been stabbed in the chest like at least twice.
If that's the case, I'd rather be Sith than Jedi.
I mean, this is true. There's been storylines where Sith literally come back from the grave, or they are pretty much walking zombies just because of how much rage they have. Like, that is legit storyline.
I understand with Darth Maul, him coming back because he was sliced in half, where like from his waist down.
Mm-hmm.
So he could still live, but to get up and walk when the lightsaber is going through your chest, which is where you have a spine behind it. So.
And honestly, it was only a matter of a couple of days, really. It was not like it was months of like intensive care recovery. He was like, "I'm back, sister."
But then she's back too. I was like, "How is she back that fast out on Tatooine, faster than Obi-Wan?" She gets stabbed after that fight with Darth. There is no ship. They leave her stranded.
She found a ship. Oh,
and she needed time to heal. I mean, it doesn't happen in 5 minutes.
She didn't heal. She was still injured, chasing down.
Come on, but it went straight through. It was center. It was a center strike.
Oh, I know.
It wasn't to the side. It was straight down the center. The spinal cord's severed, but yet she's still able to get up. I understand that the dark side is strong, and there's a line that Palpatine says, I can't remember right now, but it takes time to heal. It doesn't just like that. And they made it appear like that she's already on Tatooine ahead of Obi-Wan, even though, yes, he is trying to avoid
and be a distraction to Vader.
Right. And also, like Reva, like in episode 4, Reva reminded me of the Joker from Christopher Nolan's movies.
She looked like Jack Nicholson?
Not the Tim Burton one. No, we're in like Christopher Nolan's Batman, where Joker was always 5 steps ahead, always knew what's going to happen. After a while, I was like, that's kind of convenient that he always knows that everything's going to happen. Like Reva, same thing. She's always there ahead, or always knows where to be, or always know where to find something. I was like, that's kind of convenient that this girl knows everything about everything.
Also strong with that.
I guess. Now, episode 5. This is where you liked, but I found was a total mess.
You didn't even get to the escape from episode 4.
What escape from episode 4?
Base.
Yeah, you said it though.
No.
Here's the one I don't get.
We're talking about where they kidnapped Leia, and they're now doing the Great Escape with Leia out of the base. That's episode 4. We went from 3, skipped that.
No. 4 is the one that, to me, Reva looked like, or reminded me of the Joker. Not looked like, but
I got you.
Granted, like that scene where Leia is getting tortured and again doing memory pool, and she's in the strap, that reminded me of Solo about to be tortured in Empire.
Yes, no, I agree.
And also it reminded me of The Last Jedi, where they're in that big space and Rey and Kylo are fighting off the Red Guards.
I also thought about the frozen carbonite chamber.
Who?
Han. The room reminded me of it for some reason.
Yeah, I can see it was full of stuff where that was That
There
room
was
was
lighting.
more empty. Again, that was like a rescue mission, and I just find it again sloppy. I mean, because you have that spy who is talking next to a Empire dude, whatever, and she's talking to Obi-Wan, and I was like, he can hear you. He's right there. You're not whispering. Oh, and also like I from all the like the shooting stuff and Obi-Wan deflecting the shots, but there's times where he's just standing there staring of his work while he's being shot at. They miss him. I was like, so this was the whole thing, huh? Like they just miss regardless.
You're staring at it like I still got it.
Yeah, the one that he's flaring and he does the upside down deflection and it hits the stormtrooper and he just like looks at the sword like it's like, what are you doing? But again, going back to episode 5, where I found it was a true mess. It started right away with a 41-year-old Padawan fighting his master or trying to beat his master. Oh. They did no de-aging whatsoever, and that fight was very reminiscent also to Darth and Luke's fight on Return of the Jedi, the final battle. Disney and Star Wars is a multi-billion-dollar empire or empires. They couldn't afford a de-aging process for this guy. They did it for Luke. They couldn't do it for here.
Well, Luke was deep fake. I mean, they did it for
deep fake. Same thing. De-aging, deep fake. It's still the same thing.
I mean, technically, they did it for some of the Marvel franchises. They could spare it.
They did a better job de-aging or deep faking, if you will, in Stranger Things. This last season just came out. They made her younger and smaller.
Oh, yeah.
If they could do it, and I know the budget is nowhere near as Obi-Wan, they couldn't done that. I was like, in episode 5, also we see it before, but Haja, he reminded me of more like a Lando in the series. That
Scoundrel with a heart.
Well, that's Han too. Throughout the series, Ewan did a great job of capturing Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan more here, especially with the beard, where he puts his hand, and he rubs his beard, and like he's thinking. Mm-hmm. Or contemplating or listening. That was cool. And the droid thing. When the droid cut the power to the escape route, then Leia goes in there. The droid's there, but it waits for 20 minutes to attack Leia.
No idea why that was even a thing.
The droid knows that Leia's trying to do something, but it waits to right when she's about to touch it. That was uncalled for. Did not need it. That was a waste. When Reva captures, or when Obi-Wan surrenders to Reva, and they're having this conversation in front of a troop of stormtroopers, and then she just lets them go. Seriously? The stormtroopers can say mutiny or call her out or something, but they just like, no, whatever. We just captured him for her just to let him go.
They're just soldiers. They just do what they're told.
I understand, but they're trying to, the thing is, their mission was to get Obi-Wan. And then the fight that you like, I found was blah. It reminded me of, remember The Matrix, that training scene? I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
That Neo's trying to hit Morpheus, and Morpheus is just like sidestepping and not touching, not getting hit, just angling, just to miss. That's what Vader was doing with Reva. He'll turn, he'll put his hand up to force stop the lightsaber, then push her back, and then sidestep again. Fine, cool, all right. So why would you take her lightsaber away, split it in half, and then give it to her again?
The flex.
Where you just beat her empty-handed. So if you beat her empty-handed, there's no chance for her to fight with both hands.
Well, she had an opportunity to not continue to fight.
Well, of course, her rage will not stop her.
Yeah, he was just letting her feed into that.
And the thing is, so she stabbed the Grand Inquisitor through the chest, straight through. Boom! She just snuck up and without any sign.
Yeah.
Yet with Vader,
she grunts and yells
and does a slash movement. Great. I know it's all about theatrics and all that stuff, but if you're able to do it there with the Grand Inquisitor, you could have done the same thing with that. And not even sneak up, just walk up to him as if damn, he got away.
Listen,
and then
he was. No, you're absolutely right. She was close enough where she could have just been like, boop, and get him right that way. And I said that to myself watching it. I'm like, man, missed opportunity. You could have just got him with a kidney shot easily. But I mean, it's just plot armor.
And then it shows that she was killed twice, or she was tried to be killed by Anakin Vader twice.
Yeah, but he knew the entire time that she was a youngling.
No, I understand that, but the thing is that when she's about to get stabbed by armored Vader, we see that she was stabbed also by unarmored Vader.
True.
And she lived twice. And Anakin had no scar on his face. That they made so importantly to have a scar on his face for cool features, really, because we have no reasoning why he has a scar on his face.
I think that was in the Clone Wars.
Nope.
You didn't get a scar in Clone Wars?
Not the Clone Wars, nor the other animation Clone Wars.
It wasn't in the second movie neither? When he was fighting Count Dooku?
Yeah. No, not at all. When he came into episode 3, he had a scar.
People in the comments, if you know how he got that scar, please tell me. I'm really curious now.
Now, in episode 6, I did enjoy that. I enjoyed the fight. I enjoyed the battle. Because where Obi-Wan was scared, he found strength. And where Vader was fighting due to his ego, Obi-Wan was fighting for Luke and Leia.
Yes.
And I enjoyed that. I saw him fight. Yeah, he had the flair. This fight scene was so much better than Revenge of the Sith. The Revenge of the Sith was way too long. It was 20 minutes where it could have been 5.
You gotta admit, though, there was a moment watching that fight scene where I thought Darth Vader was gonna be like, I have the high ground now.
Oh, yes. When he put him down the thing, that was totally that.
Missed opportunity.
Totally missed opportunity.
I would have been like, yeah, boy.
he should have said that. Exactly. But again, they didn't write that in. Maybe he did say it and they just edited it out, but they should have said it because, granted, the visual was there, but yes, him saying it would have been perfect. Also, in a sense of like the continuity issue, when Vader in A New Hope meets again Obi-Wan, there's a lot of talk like, the last time we met, I was a student, but now I am the master. He was a master.
Yeah.
The last time they met, when he was a student, was in episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Because he had a Padawan.
Well, yeah, he had a Padawan.
The circle is now
Complete.
And as you, I was but the learner. Now
I am the master
only a master
of evil. Was a learner?
Mm-hmm.
No, he was a learner. So that means he was still a student. A Padawan, if you will. And now he's the master. It's like, so your powers are weak, old man. See such a here again. Yeah, so in that battle with Obi-Wan and Vader in A New Hope, then I guess what happened in Obi-Wan didn't happen. And when Obi-Wan is in the Death Star and Vader feels him, he's like, I haven't felt this presence, or I haven't felt this since, and then he walks away.
I mean, it's a 10-year gap.
True, but Vader in Obi-Wan series is a master. He is no longer a student. He wasn't a student in Revenge of the Sith. I believe they gave him the honor of master.
True.
I think.
I mean, I feel like that was the case. They gave him a general, and they also gave him a Padawan. I don't think they would give a Padawan, but either way, I see where you're getting at, and I don't disagree. I mean, someone could make an argument that, when are you ever no longer a student to your master, your sensei, your teacher?
When you break away. You break away, right? So Anakin Vader broke away. He is no longer the student. So he is the master. He is his own master, or he follows a new master.
So that's the one thing I could say. Like, possibly you can make the argument that by the end of episode 6, where he goes, I only have one master, or anything like that. Right. That's him truly finally breaking away from his past.
You can say that.
I mean, you could.
You can say, I mean,
it's a far reach.
Because he's always going to be mad at Obi-Wan. He was mad at Obi-Wan in A New Hope. Because the thing is, he always had the Inquisitors looking out. We saw that in Rebels.
Yeah.
They're always looking out for new Jedis. And I just find it funny that, they went to Tatooine, but you don't think they were going back to Tatooine. Because the thing is, like Reva, here we go on that one. Does Reva know that Leia and Luke are Skywalkers?
No.
Or the reason why I say this is because when she sees that broken hologram disc and sees that, from Bail Organa.
That was the thing that got me confused. So, like, in the hologram disc, he doesn't mention Owen's name.
Yeah,
right?
he does.
Oh, he does? Okay, so
it says Owen, rescue the The kid, right? So I'm thinking, like, how does she put that since Bail Organa and Owen, like, why go after kids? Like, is it because that she knows that he has 2 kids that he doesn't even know? Because he knew.
I don't think she knows that's Vader's kids.
It just seemed too convenient that she would go after Luke for no reason except for being angry again. Still, just to have hate. To go after a kid.
I thought it was more like her retaliating at Obi-Wan, honestly.
But why when they made a truce?
Because he didn't.
In episode 5.
He didn't really help her. He pretty much abandoned her. So he's like, he'll be too focused on me for you to have that day. But he didn't stay.
But bro, they were leaving, so that's what his focus was.
True.
So that's when he was distracted.
Odds of success are going up more if you have 2 against 1. Just saying.
I understand that, but he didn't leave her. The thing is that she didn't attack promptly. And
that's true.
So it's not his fault that she messed up. And the thing is, why again? The kid has nothing to do with what's happening. But since she saw that, she knew for some reason that this kid is valuable, but is it because that she knew that, is she that smart that she knows that Luke is Vader's son, or?
I feel like I'll give you the far reach that Vader is Anakin. Sure. You can put 2 and 2 and make a guess. But Vader having kids, this is the son. I mean, and based on that, there's no real grounds for it. If she comes to that conclusion, I will have to be like, oh, these shenanigans are too strong. So it makes no sense in that aspect to me.
What they did in this series is that they just showed us that Leia seeking help or that big stage or that big monologue of asking for Obi-Wan's help doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue that Obi-Wan and Vader had at the end of Empire, or not the end of Empire, at the end of A New Hope, doesn't matter. Or even the prequels, again, Anakin was not a Padawan anymore. Vader was considered a master of the Sith. So him being a learner to now a master in A New Hope, that dialogue is nothing. And they fought twice. Anakin saying, or Vader saying that this is why you'll always lose. Where in the fact that Obi-Wan never lost.
No, I don't disagree there. Obi-Wan always got the W in the end.
Yeah, the set, the design was good. Oh, here's another thing that I just have issue with. And this is where Rogue One got it absolutely right. The styling.
Mm-hmm.
The styling in Rogue One, where the lamb chop sideburns, the hairstyle was mimicking A New Hope that was done in the 70s. Here, like the prequels, they said, screw that. They're going to have nice hair. They're going to have fades. They're going to have perfect mullets. They're going to, all this stuff. And here they did the same thing. I was like, this is supposed to be taking the past. It should be a period piece, if you will, in the Star Wars universe. Again, they just ignored it. The attention to detail is what I like in stories like this. And that's where they failed yet again. And it's just,
it's true.
We're going long on this. I was trying not to, but there was so much. There is good in here. There is good in this show, but there's so much bad as well.
There was many opportunities, like you said, clean up, tighten up, and lose some of the things that were not. They were adding in things that were not necessary. We said it early on. Leia was not necessary.
Even Vader was not necessary. I would have been okay if they were like having flashbacks of Anakin and Obi-Wan on maybe missions that we have never seen.
I would have been okay if it was just focusing on the Inquisitors trying to get a hold of them.
Exactly right. And then maybe have Vader at the end, like Maul showed up at the end of Solo.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool. It would have been nice if instead of Leia, it would have been Luke that was in danger, that he needed help. But then, like Obi-Wan had to find a way not to show off his skills in front of Luke. Almost like Clark Kent not showing that he's Superman to Lois. That would have been cool. Or that he had to leave on another mission. Another Jedi was in danger by the Inquisitors.
Like that one Jedi that came to him at the beginning, first episode.
Who was hung later.
Yeah.
And his hair was nice too. Is it worth the watch? For me, yes, it's worth the watch. Why not? It shines some lights on some things. It's good to see Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan again, but like for multiple time, no. To own, no. I'm good. I don't need to see this series again. What about you?
Worth the watch. Is it necessary? You can actually skip past it very easily.
So there you go, guys. That is our Sith-sational review of Obi-Wan. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
Adan.
We have spoken.
Ooh.